gravitated toward each other. I was wondering...
that was a long time ago.
A long time ago, when no
Thank
one...
you
weren't very popular at the time. I was wondering what...
Without being lengthy about it, what attracted you to Miss Rand? I mean, what did you like?
I liked the idea of not being ashamed to be proud of what I am and who I am. And that's basically it.
You feel there's pressures?
In today's society, I think there's a great deal of pressure.
Isn't American chauvinism one of the issues that we all have to look at and examine in terms of what it may lead us to do that may not be in our own long-term best interest? In other words, we are accused of being breastfeeders who never can admit error.
I really don't see that as a problem. I see as a problem what she was talking about in Iran, where we have the technology, the intelligence, and everything else, give it to everybody else, and then all of a sudden we turn out to be the bad guys. Where is the justice?
You agree?
Do I agree with the speaker? Oh, yes, completely. But what was your question?
My question is a frivolous one of what do you think of the architecture in Chicago after writing The Fountainhead and studying, I'm sure, much of it?
I haven't been in Chicago for years, so I can answer only that I love the early Frank Lloyd Wright buildings, which there are several in Chicago and in your suburbs, and the early Sullivan buildings, which I hope are preserved as a landmark. But I haven't seen any new buildings for at least 10 years.
You must see our skyline. There's another book down there.
With pleasure.
We'll be back with Ayn Rand in just a moment.
We admired your work and still doing it. Yes, Miss Rand, I was one of those people who belonged to your cult where we were devouring your books, and I just wanted to say that as I matured, I am glad that I was able to differentiate with your philosophies.
Did you see our show last year? Do you want to create an incident?
No.
Pass it up. I'm not a cult.
Okay.
Oh, all right. No, I didn't mean that. I just meant that we admired your work and still do in many ways. But I'm glad now that as the emphasis today, as everyone talks of the me society, I have different feelings thinking that there are many parts of your philosophies that do emphasize and create another me society.
And what's wrong with that?
Well, I just feel that I know Miss Rand does not like the word responsibility, but as I matured, I became more responsible, I feel, and I realized that there is another world around me other than just myself and my family.
And I don't. And if I didn't, why would I be here or speaking to you at all, and why would I write?
No, I don't disagree with that.
Thank you.
And I realize that, but I also feel that there are so many things that in many ways you're trying to create an elitist society, and today that just is not practical.
What has she said that makes you...
If you want to spread your views, in today's society you have every opportunity, more than you can count. Why come here and take advantage of my show and of people who came here to see and hear me, not the leaders who put responsibility on your shoulder. You want responsibility, go and practice it. But you're not going to force any responsibility on me.
Well,
and certainly not
but she's
for
not,
your
but
manners.
she has to be able to share with you her opinion, however differing it may be from
No.
what you hold. Because I know you don't mean to, and I know we've been here before. Do you feel some sense of deja vu with this?
A little.
When you say that, you sound intolerant of those who would dissent from your position.
No, there is a distinction that has been very intentionally modeled. I do not, and I've said repeatedly, I don't want to interfere with anyone or force anything on them. You have to make those distinctions voluntarily and yourself. Yeah. The distinction is, let the whole world disagree with me if it wants to. Doesn't mean that if I want to be tolerant, I will change my ideas. Well, I want to hold only my ideas. I don't approve of those who preach the opposite, and I don't think that the freedom to utter nonsense is the first freedom. The freedom is your right to your life.
I don't think you want the responsibility of deciding what in every case is nonsense.
No.
All right.
What my policy is, I don't deal with those who disagree.
All right, well...
They don't agree, fine, they shouldn't deal with me.
But just think of the fun you're missing. I mean, you're...
That's different. That depends on your idea of fun.
Oh, a good, vigorous exchange of views between two people who care and have differing positions is one of the most instructive things that can happen in a living room or on television.
I would love to see an honorable adversary, but I've stopped hoping for it.
But that's an arrogant position. What you're saying is all those who disagree with me are not honorable.
Madison Square Garden.
That's what you're saying.
Not honorable in their ideas.
Created such a stir everywhere with books, which incidentally sell in numbers equaling.
Today's conservative.
Sorry. I want to.
Because if you're speaking about women's liberation, that whole movement, it's a very false and phony issue. Women are human beings, so they need leaders just like men. But let's say in politics, they need leaders who are men or women as the leaders have earned. There is no such thing as specifically a leader of women, but just as it would be ridiculous to say you have leaders of only men.
Well, but the point...
And those who created it are the philosophers of altruism. It's those who preach self-sacrifice, selflessness, self-abnegation, all the anti-self theories, which means anti-man. All those who demand man's sacrifice, they have succeeded, and look at the results. Quite the opposite. It's in the universities that it doesn't work, because all the leftist ideas and all the misrepresentation of capitalism come from leftist liberal professors. The universities are the real villains in the picture.
Okay. All right. You want...
Or face. I am against God for the reason that I don't want to destroy reason. He says, how can I be against God? I'm against those who conceived that idea.
Tell us why. Tell us why.
Because then it gives man permission to function irrationally, to accept something above and outside the power of their reason and superior to reason.
And what's
yes, you said it, I think, unintentionally. You said, so I can't wait to die and find out. That, I am serious, is one of the results of acting on faith. You can't wait to get out of this life.
And what's wrong with that?
Because this life is wonderful, as you said. If you take Jesus Christ as an ideal human being, and that is properly the view of Christians, what do you do with your ideal being? You put him on the cross, you torture him and murder him for the sake of those who are less virtuous. Is that a proper example to set?
For the sake of those who are less virtuous?
Yeah, for the sinners, to redeem their sins, as you say. I think that's a monstrous idea. If I were a Christian, I would resent it enormously. The ideal men are to be appreciated and followed.
And listened to.
And listened to.
But
not men.
Of course not. But
physically, they certainly
that's
are.
what feminists are doing. They're standing up and educating.
No, they're asking for government power and government handouts. They go around depriving men of jobs because they have to have quota of so many women.
But their point is that they have been denied jobs all these years. So let's get at it and start swinging for it. You don't deny that there have been grievances. You don't deny sexism. You don't deny prejudice against women.
I deny all that except unequal wages. There have been. Here you can get anything regardless of your sex, because all you have to do is show your ability. And if someone is prejudiced and doesn't hire you, the intelligent employer will.
15 years ago, I was impressed with your books, and I sort of felt that your philosophy was proper. Today, however, I'm more educated, and I find that if a company...
This is what I don't answer.
Well, wait a minute. You haven't heard the question yet.
She's already estimated her position and my work, incidentally, displaying the quality of her brain. If she says today she is more educated...
I am more educated. now than I was 15 years ago when I was in high school, before I went to college, and
I'm not
before I read the
interested in your
newspapers.
biography.
Let
In
her
that
make her point.
context.
Let her make her point. Let her make her point.
If you didn't interrupt me, I would have demonstrated what I mean. I will to show you that I'm not evading the question. If anyone else wants to ask the same question politely, I'll be delighted to answer.
Well, there was nothing impolite.
A question asked in the following form. I used to agree with you, but now that I'm more educated, I don't, is an insult which I cannot sanction.
All right.
I am not interested in the woman's history. She didn't have to begin it that way, and that's what I want to register my protest
How do we
against.
keep...
Successful men of the 19th century never went to college, and today those who didn't go to college are more intelligent and better informed and less easily fooled than the people who did go to college.
I assume you're against
I'm
compulsory...
against public-funded education because that's the sure way to create a country of people disposed towards dictatorship, and that's what you're seeing to despise them.
Do you believe that there's going to be a day where...
Oh, this one's
there's
good
gonna be a
too.
female
Sorry, I got
in the
to.
White House as president, and how do you feel about that?
I wouldn't vote for her.
You would or wouldn't?
Would not.
You would not.
No.
She would not vote for a woman president.
For many reasons.
Yes.
Would you not vote for her because she was a woman, even if she were better qualified than any man?
If we had followed that law, I might.
That low? I think you have a very, very
I'll
low
tell you
opinion of
why.
women.
Let me answer this. It is not to a woman's personal interest to rule man. It puts her in a very unhappy position. I don't believe that any good woman would want that position. No. Oh, no. The president is not the only leadership position. There's senators and congressmen and
And it's all right for you if they run and be elected.
Oh, certainly, and I vote for them. But wait a moment. A commander-in-chief of the army.
All right,
a
it's almost
woman,
over.
I think it's unspeakable.
She says it's okay if the lady wants to be a senator, but not the president. And this is back in the 70s, mind you, and she was probably in her 60s. This is the person that the Speaker of the House worships, Paul Ryan. You have to read this lady's books, that the woman you've been listening to, that I forced you to listen to. I want to wake some people up. A lot of the politicians followed this philosophy. And the reason I started thinking about this was Mr. Midnight Movie and JP had a show on Spreaker eugenics. And it reminded me of someone. I said, oh, I know who. And I did a show a little while ago, Wrong Midnight. I think that's what I entitled it. And I tore his ass up. Tore it up. Not in a good way. You know, it was bad. You know, because he used words like, the stupidest. Yeah, just, oh, my Lord. You know, he was hurt. He must have been hurt when he was younger. That's all I got to say on that. But let's take a look at the chat room, shall we? Boy, it's late for me. Chimps one corner, deflects answering. Yes. DJ Bad Guy cornered a character on Spreaker known as Mr. Solution. And as he said, quote, he went ooga booga when I trashed him, all back of the bus, which is a slam on his racial... You know, Guy, I really don't believe in race. I just think we're all different shades of holy. I truly believe that. Now, maybe we come from different backgrounds and the way we're raised and the manners or type of manners we may have. Oh, no, I lost my computer. Oh, God, I thought I lost my computer. Well, no, I mean, I don't think anybody set him up. He sets himself up. Especially if he's drinking wine. Was he drinking wine that night? Mr. Solution, was he drinking wine? If he was, and he knows when not to talk to someone. Like, he would never address me after a certain point. because I always got the better of him. And it had to do with scripture. It made him look like an ass. You know, I can do that to certain people, and I found him easy to get.